As I stood on the phone in the edge of the kitchen, I'm on a phone interview. It's kind of the pre-interview before the interview. And the middle of the conversation, we're talking about the job and the pay and what all is involved. And out of the corner of my eye, I see my daughter. She was about 18 months, maybe 2 years old at the time, and she had come around the corner just in the age of potty training with her pants and her panties around her ankles and tears streaming down her face. And she looks at me, and I'm holding the phone out and trying to be quiet, and I said, "What?" She said, "I have to pee." "Then go pee." And I turn and I get back on the phone, and she disappears around the corner. I thought, all is well. A couple of minutes go by, and she's back again. White-faced, more tears, trembling, and still with her pants and her panties around her ankles. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I have to pee." "Well, then go pee." And by now, my potential new boss is on the line saying, "Is everything okay? Do I need to let you go?" And I said, "No, we're potty training." He said, "Oh, I've been there. I have 8 kids." Oh my gosh. So we have a little conversation about that. She disappears around the corner again. We schedule a time for me to come for the interview. It's an 8-hour drive for the interview. And as we're working out the details, she appears around the corner once again with her pants and her panties around her ankles. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I have to pee." I said, "Then go pee." And she says, "I can't. There's a cow in the potty." Yes, the whole world kind of came to a stop for a moment as I'm picturing what kind of cow could be in the potty. And I'm thinking, a stuffed animal? No. Do we have toy cows around? No. How could a cow be in the potty? And at this point, the boss says, "Hey, listen, I'll see you in the morning. You need to go solve your problem." So I hang up the phone and I make my way around the corner into the bathroom, and I guess I would have to say it looked just like a cow in the potty. A live baby possum had made its way out of the trees above our house through the methane tube and was trying to scratch his way up the porcelain to get out of the commode. He was alive. He was probably 2 or 3 pounds, and he was black and white spotted with a long snout and round ears, and I guess if I was almost 2, it would look to me like a cow as well. See, the point of my story today is that we each have moments in our life where just a fine second can determine whether we panic or we get it. And when you're that age and you're learning to get to the potty in time, a live critter in the bottom of your commode can be a life-changing moment. As a grown-up, I simply grabbed a little sucker with a plastic bag and dropped him in a mop bucket and took him outside and released him again. As a grown-up, that wasn't a big deal. As a grown-up, my fears of live critters in my commode are pretty limited. I feel like I can pretty much, now a snake, that's a whole different thing, but I can pretty much handle a live critter in the commode. When we're leading, when we're teaching, when we're coaching, when we're training, we have to understand that our perception, this side of victory, this side of accomplishment, this side of I've been there and done that, is different than the fear of approaching that thing for the first time. There are those things that we do in life that we've done it enough times to be comfortable in it. That someone else is saying, I am shaking in my boots just pondering the notion. The idea of getting in front of a crowd with a mic in my hand, the idea of telling a personal story from my own life, a moment that I've encountered, the idea of expressing to someone else what it's like when, scares the bejeebers out of me. And for us as leaders to say, just get over it, I believe it's a failure in leadership. If there's not training, if there's not an opportunity to practice, to rehearse, to fine-tune, to hear the story told again in a different way, it can be a challenge. It can be hard to communicate in a way that's emotionally effective without being manipulative. that covers all the bases that are necessary to build, know, like, and trust without selling yourself down the river. To be able to connect with someone in an intellectual and emotional level in a matter of a few sentences. It's an art. It's a craft as much as a skill set. Now, there are some natural gifts and natural talents that help gird up that process, but there are enough skills that can be learned by anyone. What needs to be in a story and what should be left out. The things that will help enhance the nature of the story versus those things which are just distractions and mental rabbit trails. What does it mean to accidentally include cognitive dissonance in your story? What does it mean to over-dramatize detail that has no bearing on the outcome of your story? Now see, I've left one thing off of that story that I would encourage everyone to have. And I did it for a teachable moment. At the end of my story, there was no call to action. What would I want you to do with the knowledge that you now have? So let me step back into that story for a moment and add something of value to you. See, in that 2-minute story, we see the emotion of terror, of the unexpected. We see and feel what it's like to meet the unknown when you're ill-prepared. Contrasted with the mentor who says, I've been there, I've done that before, it's not that big a deal, but let me walk through that with you. The call to action would be simple. Understand that as a leader, the fear of the unknown, which can compel and motivate your team, may be your expertise, but they're not ready for it yet. So take a moment to gently guide them through that crisis, and you will find victory in your team as they learn to cope with the things that terrify them right now. If you feel like learning to tell a story in 2 minutes or less that could change the way people perceive your business, share a story that could change a life or save a life, help you in writing a book or writing a longer presentation, I would love you to come and be a part of the storytelling workshop. We'll be doing Transforming Stories again. I haven't done it since 2015. So hundreds of people have been through this. In fact, if you've been through the storytelling workshop or the inspired communication workshop, they're the same workshop with a little bit of different modification. It was called Master the Heart of Storytelling when we did it at Gateway for 3 weeks. Love for you to come back if you'd like to, but I'd love for you to comment below and tell people what your experience was like. I will put the link for the workshop in the comments of this video, both on YouTube and at Facebook, and I'd love for you to come and participate. If you have any questions, if you'd like to bring a group, or if you'd like to have this training in a private group, I've done that for organizations like GE. I'd be glad to do that for you as well. But the Storytelling Workshop, Transforming Stories, is really about learning to take all of the details of your life, all of the incidences of your business, and break them down into small snowballs so that you can use them in communication of short format or long format, regardless of the amount of time that you have available. Would you consider coming to join us? I'd love to see you. I am J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. If you're still here, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit like, hit share, and help spread the word. I'd love to see the house packed for the Transforming Stories workshop. Have a blessed day.